slightly different background. I am still stranded in paradise here. Let me get your chat loaded up for me here. I get to go home tomorrow, and the weather outside is a frigid 66 degrees. I cannot. Well, it's supposed to be 66 degrees. I don't know what it is now, but I couldn't stay outside and broadcast in that. My next best option was to do it inside. So you have to excuse running kids, potentially someone yelling about, I don't know, some childish thing. So, Nancy, I would count my lucky stars on this one, because there's nothing I'd rather more. There's no place like home, and clapping my heels, really, really, really want to be home. And I go to work, right? It wasn't my title, actually. To my surprise, TC was stuck here on Monday or so. See, yeah, I wasn't taking a chance on connecting with the kids, so that's where I'm at. Cool. Let's get to the headlines. First thing, you see what the prime example of me being not doing as professionally is? So much of the ICE video came out on Sunday, and really more compilations came out on Sunday that really told a much more consistent storyline. But the most I saw was what I was looking at on Saturday night. Lo and behold, Sunday came around. I watched the Face the Nation video, and I sent it to a few of you who we were talking about it. And I mean, that showed a consistent story. Michael goes into the New York Times special link yesterday with enhanced videos, frame by frame, 6 minutes in total analysis. Now that tells you not everything, but a lot of what you needed to know. As he says, question boils down to, was it smart? He did have a right, but was it smart to bring a firearm to a protest? Dare I say, I have experience with it myself. Armed guard. Remember? Synagogue. People protesting. People were protesting my synagogue for, I guess, in the height of the college protests. And as a volunteer, I had an option to make, or an option to take. I'm always in bulletproof armor. Do I take the firearm with me? The answer was no. It wasn't legal to in my case. The protest is a sensitive place in my head, in my state, unfortunately. The protesters could have been armed, could have been dangerous. Lucky for us, we had significant police presence, and the police were fantastic. But it was the right move. It was the right move. Yeah, just saw my issue. Okay. Where was I thinking? Okay, it was the right move. It was the right move because the police were doing their job, protecting us, protecting our synagogue. And frankly, I was emotionally charged that day. I don't think I would have ever discharged anything, given the situations I was in. But I understand the mentality of don't bring it to a protest. The emotions could get the better of a lot of people with a shorter fuse. So there's my vote. My vote is, should concealed carry be allowed at protests? My answer is yes, because I'm ultimately deferring to the agency of the gun owner. Should it be illegal? No. Should it be advised? No. That's my 2 cents on that video. Now, when it comes to that ICE video, my reassessment, let's just call it, ICE was wrong. Was ICE criminal? You got to leave it up to a jury. Notice how Trump started calling for an investigation, and Trump started showing some sort of compromising rather than calling Preddy a domestic terrorist like last time. I can't believe I'm saying this, but he's vulnerable, at least among Republicans. And he has to cave. Remember last stream, I left off the question to you guys and saying, how can ICE's lack of legitimacy make the federal government bend to the people's wishes absent an election? This is what I mean. And it's working. It's working. Also, it helps that Rand Paul and Tillis are leading, as far as what I'm reading, leading the charges in the Senate to have the head of ICE testify. Trump's rhetoric against Fry, or with Fry and with Walls, seems somewhat de-escalatory. That's always a good thing. And I think it's really just inexcusable for the agents to act that way. And I do think they were emboldened by the Trump administration's almost blanket support of their behavior, no matter what they did. So that's my take on that video. That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to pitch. There was another thing. Let me just load up this newsletter. Oh, so check this out. I'm going to share something. I'm going to share a thing here. I got a couple of headlines yesterday, and I was very upset. Well, here's one of them. Let's go back to the screenshot. Here we go. And let me change the layout. Perfect. And I'm going to make that a little bigger for you guys. All right. Let's go through all these. This is what literally appeared on my feed yesterday. Gun rights groups decried the administration's rhetoric. What do the gun rights group expect? Do they not want this to be resolved? I mean, you could be as gun as you want, but is there no clearer case than the Second Amendment being assaulted than this? So what do the gun rights group? It's what I said in my video on Sunday. Is nobody concerned about the government telling you can only carry when we tell you can carry in this particular shooting? That's one thing I'm thinking about. That's the CNN headline. BBC saying that Trump's going to de-escalate. All right, like I said, great thing. New York Times saying Trump faults Preddy for carrying a gun, but he wants an honest inquiry. Let's see what Trump's version of honest inquiry is. And then internal review contradicts the White House narrative of Freddie's death. No kidding. The White House and the DHS are saying two totally separate things. What I was telling you on Monday, I can't believe we live in a society where I'm questioning the credibility, not of ICE, not of the whole Department of Homeland Security, but the government. The government was always kept in check by our free press. And in today's day and age, I mean, look at this. Look at the screen in front of you. They're not saying the same story. Independent minds, right? We just have to work harder at it. And I thought I had another screenshot yesterday. I'll unprofessionally whip it out on my phone. And I got 2 notifications last night. I got a notification. I'm going to read that to you. First notification, Fox News. Representative Ilhan Omar charged during Minneapolis town hall. I don't know if it's going to come through. Oh, maybe it's backwards. Okay. Second, NBC News. Man lunges at Ilhan Omar during town hall and tries to spray her with an unknown substance. I thought she was criminally charged, not physically. Let me read it again. Fox News. Representative Ilhan Omar charged during Minneapolis town hall. NBC News. Man lunges at Ilhan Omar during town hall and tries to spray her with an unknown substance. Now, could you tell me? I mean, mistake or not mistake? When I say you can't believe the press and you really got to do your homework, look at the screenshot I put up before and just look at that. It just happened to me last night. My God. Now, I see this comment scrolling by, Tammy. How can we trust any investigation? Notice, for any of you who tuned into Smerconish's show on Tuesday, he didn't say how he thinks it should be investigated. I floated the idea of some IG or some special prosecutor kind of formula happening before. And actually, I got heat for it in the comments over there because people thought that I was, being all pro Jack Smith and we just need to appoint another Jack Smith for Trump to fire him. I didn't think that. I thought that model had to be followed. Somebody with independence. Long are the days, as Michael says, that here come the feds, so that brings increased credibility and legitimacy to investigation. Yeah, those days are long gone, especially after how the news cycle deteriorated their rhetoric and their side of the story. It's unfortunate. I can only think back to how much the credibility suffered when Watergate was a thing. I think government credibility went from the upper 70s, I think, until to the 40s maybe. But today, I'd be afraid to figure out what it's at. Okay, so yes, there has to be an independent investigation. Define independent. Is that special counsel? I have a couple more points I want to make, but let me go through some comments here. Robert, lunges is a better word. Sure it is. But was the word charged used with appealing to the Fox News base? And notice I have both apps on my phone, by the way. I make sure to, and let's just say all of the news apps are in one folder, and that folder is huge. So whenever imagine if I only had Fox in my Fox News silo, if I were just that Fox News kind of person, I'm waking up this morning with a different reality, thinking that Ilhan Omar got charged criminally. Imagine that. Jamal responding, saying it was not an organized protest. The first shot was, however, after he'd been sprayed and dragged to the ground and disarmed. Does anyone here seriously think that they didn't go a step too far? Seriously? at the very least, they should be trained to say gun clear, or after they shot him 10 times, they ask, where is the gun? They should not be asking, where is the gun? Their training should have taught them that a gun was spotted, a gun was removed because they said certain things like gun clear. The totality of the situation. Well, that isn't that for a court of law? That's my question to you guys. Are the American people powerless between elections? No, it's just what I started off with. Last stream, I ended off by asking, how much could the lack of legitimacy contribute to government bending to the people's will? And you're seeing it. Trump is toning down his rhetoric, making somewhat of amends with Walz and Fry in Minneapolis and Minnesota. And it's he's bending, and he's really vulnerable. Chris Cillizza has a great channel, and he went into how he expects Trump to be in the lower 30s at this point. And he went into a quote that leaked by Ted Cruz saying, Trump, if you lose the midterms in the House, if you lose the House in the midterms, you're going to be impeached every 2 weeks. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Ted Cruz is probably right. And when it comes to Jamal's comment here, they should be charged and tried by a jury. My question to you, Jamal, who should be charged and with what? There's something to get your creative juices flowing. I did want to too tempting. Sean, what does his rating matter at this point? The rating matters because he still needs to maintain favorability. People still need to see legitimacy in the office of the President of the United States. If your favorability gets too low, just think about it. You want to take action on things, and people don't hold you as legitimate. That's what favorability matters. I mean, you just lack effectiveness, really. That's why it matters. Antique X-ray. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Making nice with walls must leave a bad taste in Trump's mouth. He's willing to go that far. Yeah. Moving on. Hamilton, you know I have a special place for you. Trump is in the lower 30s approval rating. Cruz is right, and that affects the Senate, which must try impeachment on notice, delaying any other business before them. Now, Hamilton, you'd have a better insight than me, but when McConnell either didn't have a trial or just delayed a trial or tried some other move, I think in Trump 1.0, I don't know the legality of it. I don't know if there's a necessary part in how quick they have to try an impeachment. And if so, I wonder what happened with the Mayorkas impeachment. Was that even ever delivered to the Senate? I remember Pelosi was withholding the articles from delivering it to the Senate, and there was no mandate there. So I don't know if it's as clear cut as that, Hamilton. But you would know the law on that better than me there. Okay, I want to transition to another thing. I was obviously scrolling through this Smerconish newsletter. I went through a couple of headlines here. All right, you know I was going to bite on this one, right? The BBC omits Jewish victims and apologizes. The BBC apologized after its Holocaust Memorial Day coverage omitted mention of 6 million Jews, drawing widespread criticism and prompting commitment to issue a correction. My family is from the Middle East. My family are Jewish Arab refugees who were were very, very, very slightly affected by the events of World War II and the Holocaust. Well, let me back up. Who were very, very, very slightly affected by the Holocaust, to my knowledge. But the BBC has a chronic anti-Jewish problem. They throughout the October 7th war with Israel, they featured, people who were too closely connected to Hamas, trying to garner passion and stoke emotions against Israel. They later put out, I think, a retraction and correction, or apologized for it. And then this just flies in the face of whatever sort of objectivity they have left when it comes to anti-Jewish coverage. It's honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't shock me, and I don't think I expected any better of them. They have a name that they earned, that they work for, and this is their name now. This is their name. Think of the New York Times or MS Now or Fox News. They've earned whatever reputation that came their way. In my opinion, the press and their biases, all those outlets earned it. Secondly, I am going to share my screen in this. Of course, it affects me where I live, but it affects us as nuance-loving independents. A Politico headline: the booby trap Eric Adams set for Zoran Mamdani. Full disclosure, I played a huge role in the Adams campaign, being a liaison in my community, as well as the Cuomo campaign. I could totally get into the New York City politics if you'd like. Let me know in the comments. But here's something that I wanted to draw your attention to. This paragraph. Hours before Adams left office on December 31st, the lame duck mayor established a legally protected commission packed predominantly with loyalists. By the way, that's a move that went back to the Giuliani administration. Making a commission that is basically fortified against political forces is a mayoral power that Giuliani put into place and used shamelessly. Packed predominantly with loyalists and tasked with exploring a ballot question about open primaries, and proposed a change in the city's electoral machinery that, if implemented, would make it more difficult for Mamdani, a Democratic Socialist, to win a second term. If open primaries are coming to New York City, you better bet you're going to be hearing about it and hearing it celebrated here. My 2 cents about it. And what I've been doing my whole voting life was playing a dance, going in and out of really every party. And the truth of the matter is, I'm an independent. I like nuance. I have no allegiance or marriage to one particular side. I want to see where this question goes. Dare I say, maybe I want to make a few phone calls and see what happens there. Maybe, I don't know. I found some sentiment in the Smerconish group. Maybe a King's Bench petition of my own. I don't have the resources for it, but hey, I don't mind being the icon if this stream doesn't show you enough. And there are a whole bunch of other things in this Politico article about how all the booby traps, literally, that Eric Adams, not literally, but you know what I'm saying, set for Zoran Mamdani. Let me take a few of your comments and questions. And Hamilton, you absolutely got it. At the very most, I think, I may make a pre-recorded video, but again, you guys are my North Star. All right, let's go with some comments here. We'll finish it off for the last 5 minutes. Nancy, what do you think about walls and comparing immigrant trial to Anne Frank? Obviously, no comparison is a valid comparison when it comes to something as grave as the Holocaust, but I'm sort of understanding that Walls is going through a lot. I mean, everyone's human, right? Issue a simple apology, and that's it. It's more of, I want I'd like people to understand that there is no comparison. There is no comparison. Be it when people are accusing other countries of or parties of genocide, there is no comparison to the Holocaust. When people are comparing the plight of children escaping police forces like Walls was, there's no comparison to Anne Frank. I'm sorry. Just because of the specialty, severity, and uniqueness of the time, there's just no comparison. It belittles what happened in World War II. It does. Jamal, I'm very much in favor of the whole ranked choice system. I'm not so in favor of how little people are educated about it. But for people who understand it, I'm very in favor of the ranked choice. Open primaries goes without saying, in my opinion. Children's fears and terrors are real. The U.S. is doing the same to Greenlandic children. I hope you're not talking about comparing it to the plight of Anne Frank. I mean, they're not doing that. They're not genociding an entire population and shipping them off to an extermination camp. That's just not what they're doing. Are children afraid? Yes. It's not to compare. It's just not. I beg to differ, Nancy Lawrence. It did work in New York City in the primary pretty well, because frankly, nobody thought that Mamdani could win, and Cuomo really took a laid-back approach. I'd be willing to bet if it were implemented in the general election, Mamdani would not be mayor. Hamilton, let's see. Question of birthright citizenship is returning. SCOTUS oral arguments coming to into C-SPAN. Channel near us, not sure of the date. I was wondering, so now, weren't arguments heard regarding the 14th Amendment explanation that said subject to the jurisdiction thereof? Or were oral arguments not performed yet? I thought they were. But in the event there weren't, okay, great. You guys know how much I like Alan Dershowitz and his commentary. He's willing to bet, and he said this publicly, that without a doubt, the Supreme Court will uphold the birthright citizenship as we know it. Interesting anti-Trump take from him, but I hold it in high regard. Let's see what else. Sean, we were all affected by the Holocaust, Jew or not. I think that's accurate. It was just, I was talking about my Jewish connection to that chapter in Jewish history. It didn't really affect my family in Syria. Not a lot. There actually for a period of time there was some Nazi presence in Syria, and let's just say the Arab forces were pretty friendly with the Nazi army too. And let's see what else we got. Jamal, answering my question, what should they be charged with and with what? Civil rights violations, some level of homicide, not first degree. Of course not first degree. I think that requires premeditation. I'm not sure about Minnesota. We may know that from the, how did I forget the guy's name? The cop on the African-American guy. George Floyd. But we'll see. We will see. That's what gives me hope, Sean. We survived Watergate to put together some sort of credibility, right? And that's where we are. That's where we are. Hamilton loves Dershowitz too. Just teasing you. I followed him for years. No longer. He made an ass of himself and legal claims at first Trump impeachment, contradicting himself on the law. Now talk to me substantively. Why? I mean, he said that in Trump 1 when he defended Trump. His arguments on the floor of the Senate were defending the Constitution. He didn't once mention that he was defending Trump. And if my memory serves me correctly, he predicated his whole argument on other high crimes and misdemeanors. The quid pro quo on the Alexander Vindman thing, who, by the way, is running for Senate here in Florida. That's interesting in itself. On the substance of it, I mean, I guess it's too long to enter into a comment on YouTube, but what makes you think he made an ass of himself in terms of the argument? I'd be more than open to hearing your point of it. Okay, guys, we're at 8:32. Wishing everybody the best day possible, given their circumstances. And please wish me, I guess, a safe journey home. I hope to stream next time from the frigid Brooklyn, New York. So I'll see you then. Guys, as usual, let me know any comments you may have. Totally open to it, either down in the comment section. I go back and rewatch every single one of these streams with your comments flying by. And also, totally open, send me an email and we'll go there. So thanks for that, and we'll talk soon.